Welcome, Billy. It's a pleasure to have you here. I don't know if I can introduce you. I think I'm going to invite you to introduce yourself. We are here in Texas, and it's a pleasure to have you visit us.
Well, I'm very glad to be with you in Texas. And we are in Minnesota. We are in, it's the land that were first, our first inhabitants were the Sinomani, which that's basically prehistoric indigenous people. Now they were the ancestors of the Lakota and the Ojibwe. And this is Artworks USA. And the wind is very strong right now. And the snow is a little bit dirty. So I will be moving back here. I want to tell you, Matakawasi, welcome to the Experimental Art Research Terminal of Artworks USA. I thought I should point out the tiger cage on wheels. This is a piece that was used to create spectacles, to draw attention to the plight of political prisoners. The spectacles were created in many places, in a number of cities, and I hope it brought a little attention to all the political prisoners in the world. And what I found was when you make a welded steel cage to lock people in and create a spectacle with, if it's made out of welded steel and is big enough for human beings, it's quite heavy. So the piece evolved from the tiger cage on wheels to the political prisoner. The political prisoner was a way to take the same idea and create a spectacle. Well, let's see, can I see that? Yes, that's the political prisoner at the Chicago Hilton Hotel in the elevator, well, as a performance. It was also used in the Art in Odd Places Festival in New York City. So I just kind of wanted to show you that. And now I would like to say a few more words about this area that I live in. It's a very special area. It's actually known as the driftless area. So when I take my walks out into the distance, I'm on top of a bluff near the Mississippi River, very close to the Mississippi River. And it's named the driftless area because in the last glacial period, the glaciers did not touch this area. We were protected from the glaciers. Of course, this is thousands of years ago, so I wasn't really around. But it's called driftless because glaciers leave drift, which is sand and rubble and stuff that they bring through. when the glaciers got to this area in southeastern Minnesota, southwestern Wisconsin, a tiny bit of northern Illinois, and northeastern Iowa was spared from the great glaciers. And I did a little research and found out that the two previous glaciers did not touch this area either. And that's why it's known as the driftless area. And just a short distance downstream and across the river is a place that a book was written about, claiming the title of the book was Found at Last, the Veritable Garden of Eden. And a minister had decided that the terrain, everything about it was the actual Garden of Eden. And it's because there were 4 rivers that joined there. It's the Mississippi, the Black, the Trempealeau, and the La Crosse rivers. And the bluffs are very, very much like hanging gardens. And there are snakes aplenty. It's known for rattlesnakes. So as I'm telling you stories, I'm moving around the studio a little bit so you can get an idea of what this place is like, because this is a gathering point. It's a collective space that people come to. So the items that are in here, because I like to still collect things. One of the pieces that I think is of interest is from my swim project. This piece was done in collaboration with the Science Museum in St. Paul. And it's made so people can help me swim. Swimming and walking have some things in common. They're both ways of slowing us down. One of the pieces that I like the most is the X3C polluted waterware, which we have right here. This was made to protect me from polluted water, although the only time I wore it, I almost went down, but it did work, so I was very pleased with that. And from doing this long swim, you know, evolutionary science tells us that creatures adapt to their environment, and it takes many, many years for that to happen. But in the case of this swim, a thing happened. It's called punctuated equilibrium. And my body was, of course, changed to suit the environment. And I became Muck Minnow the Gill Boy. This is also the experimental sound lab. We've termed this the fine art reading room, and we have plenty of books to read and CDs and all that sort of stuff. This is a coffin from when I was buried alive. That was a 3-day performance for the dead. And because we're in the experimental sound lab, I think it would be appropriate for us to here one of the sound sculptures. Now, I'm having a little trouble getting everything lined up. Where are you? You should be right there. Oh yeah, there you are. Okay, I have to tip. No, I just have to hold you lower. Okay, but I swear this will be worth it. Maybe if I stand on it the other way, maybe it'll show up a little better. Well, I guess that's it there. Maybe it's not worth it. Let's see what we got going here. Well, at least you can hear it. Oh, there we go. Well, that'll just keep going for a while. Here we have some rocking boots. And now, being down in Austin, Texas, you probably see quite a few boots like this, but maybe not with the rockers. And this was designed for those times when you're tired, you come home after a hard day, but you just don't have time to sit down. So you put on the rocking boots and, well, there you have it. I still like to make things. So that's why I have a studio like this, and it's expandable and shrinkable depending on what sort of thing is going on here. And there we've got a swimmer up near the sky, swimming to the sky. And those are hand-colored navigation charts from the Mississippi River swim. And I guess we could look out my window. It's a little bit windy and a little cold. I wonder if this is showing up. Well, there's the grotto that I'm building with the pyramid roof. And next to it is my burial site with the tombstone. The tombstone is Mount Airy granite, and it reads, individual actions are multiplied by the number of individuals. The fist becomes war, the handshake much more. The dreams of the world are cast in wax. Light the wick and don't look back. All you have to lose is time, and all the time you lose is mine. So I think we should go up into another part of this facility. Oh, I didn't put I'm getting a little chilled. Let me put my my jacket on. I'm so excited about having people from Texas visit me that sometimes I can forget to do everything that I thought I should do. So you can sue me if you want to, but I think we'll just continue on and forget about that. So we're walking fast. That's why everything's blurred. So there was a time I was worried about being impacted by all the fads in the art world. So I moved to Minnesota to an old farmhouse. And went into a period of artistic isolationism. This is the busiest place I've lived in a long time, where I am now. I thought I should show you the impervious flag. This is copper, steel, and aluminum. And I made it quite a while ago. It has a long history of its own. But when they started talking about making it illegal and even writing it into the Constitution that you couldn't burn flags as an act of protest, I thought, if we made a flag that was good enough, well, maybe you wouldn't need a law to protect it. You could, well, I've demonstrated on several occasions that the impervious flag doesn't burn. The copper, if I kept it outside, would change to red. The copper, which represents blue, would change to red. And no, it would turn green. I'm sorry. It would turn green, and the steel would turn red, which is blue in, you know, the normal flag, and the aluminum would remain white. I thought that was kind of interesting that it could change colors. And one other thing that I want to point out, in this little door, you can see I'm not very tall, and I'm bigger than this door, but it's the world headquarters of Billy's Tiny Card Company. We make tiny cards in there. And now we'll go into the rest of the living space. So this is kind of a walking tour. I know that Nicholas and well, other people are very interested in slowing things down, seeing what's around them instead of whizzing around in a steel, well, it's sort of a steel cage. So this is our walking tour. Oh, I'll have to show you more of Minnesota right now. This is where I live. I'm really sorry that I didn't have time to go and clean the snow before you came, because we're on a melt right now. And we're waiting for fresh snow to make everything prettier. But if I were to go on my walk to the bottoms, I would go down this street and go to the left past a beautiful horse farm with horses that are my friends. I don't ever ride them, but I talk to them. Now, I guess this is actually an apartment, but everything's a studio. So I thought you should see things. Now let's see, is this going to work out? This is, whoa. This is my formal straitjacket. I wear this when there's an important event, but I'm feeling a little bit of pre-schizophrenic panic. Oh, and here, this is, a lot of this is from, let's see, I gotta hold this stuff stiller. This is stuff from, this is my fake film strip from Art in Odd Places and other visitations with the political prisoner. That last one is in the Mississippi River. I'm hoping I'm not moving these too fast. And this one was the poster. Am I further down? Can you see it okay? That's from the Art in Odd Places Festival. So, okay, now we're going to go into this. It's kind of an installation called How Do You Sleep? And it has the bed of nails, which has 2,395 galvanized steel nails, galvanized steel 3-inch roofing nails. Well, and then it has a blanket of tiny tacks. I got to see what we have to do to see this. I think we have to go like that. Okay, that's the blanket of tiny tacks. And here's a close-up of the nails. I don't know if that's showing very well. Well, and then we have, there's a nice teddy with some tiny tacks as well, and the pillow with tiny tacks. And well, here we have the containment case, which if I take this lock off, I can show you some interesting items from the Mississippi River swim. I think it's easier if I bring them out. Ooh, there's Bubba Cola. That's pretty popular in some places. Here we have an alligator gar head. And oh, this is my medicine pouch, which I have kept with me, especially in dangerous situations. Here we have a clam forming a pearl. And on the Mississippi River, especially down towards Iowa, they would take clam shells and drill out parts of them to make pearl buttons. I just found all that stuff kind of interesting. These are beaver chewed sticks. One of the mayors mounted one of those sticks on his wall when I gave it to him. I gave it to him to prove that the Mississippi isn't beyond hope. It still has a lot of life in it. And this was way down south. There were beavers in it, beaver activity. Very quickly, I could show you this. This is a piece from Bloodbath. Let's see, I guess I should put it like that more. That doesn't show up very well. A little bit hard since I have to look. There we go. That's from Bloodbath. That's the earth covered with, it's a performance.
Billy, we can't hear you. I think you clicked the mute button.
I did?
Now we can hear you. Yes.
Oh, have we been having trouble with that right along?
Just now.
Just now. Okay, because it was the way I had the computer aimed. It was too much away from my voice, I guess. Well, here's a couple of pieces I think you might find interesting. This one is a favorite of mine, and it's interesting that my shadow is in there. My shadow's in there. So I guess I should just have told you that. Oh, let's see. Okay, this piece is important to me because I met John Cage, and I was working on a piece where I wanted to replace color with people's concept of color. And I asked a poet, a local poet from where I live, James George Edwards, and he wrote Billy's Questions Answered. My favorite color varies. When asked to recall the most favorite, all my favorite blend to gray, at least in my thoughts. This is from a scientist at the Smithsonian Institution. I think of transparency an aqueous envelope for life's energies, seous enclosure of vital processes and transformations. Phil Ritterbush. This is from John Cage. Oh, I guess I'm putting my head on there anyhow. What's your favorite color? I didn't answer. What's your favorite combination of colors? Didn't answer. When, wait a minute. Well, when the students are in the art school, he told me no one liked orange and red together. Then a teacher came to the school who loved orange and red together. All the students changed their minds. They discovered that they all loved orange and red together. For Billy Curmano, John Cage, October 5th, 1971. And this one is from Allen Ginsberg. He used his name as the stem for a rose. So that piece is very special to me because it was very easy for me to get John Cage and some of those other people to help me with my project. And this is a favorite, this is a kind of a favorite piece here because it's called Portrait of the Artist as Someone Else. So it's a self-portrait of me that doesn't really look very much like me. Then, oh, here's somebody that maybe you would like to meet. My life with Willie has become one of my more favorite performances. Hi, I'm Willie. Who are you? What? Willie? There's nobody there. No, they're there. They're just watching us. What? Why are they watching us? Well, I'm not really sure. Maybe we should watch them. Well, that's not what we're supposed to do. Huh. And this little guy is let's see, he's not gonna show up very well. Well, anyhow, it's Eddie, the teddy bear. He's a ferocious teddy bear that protects Willie. So these two have been going with me most everywhere lately. Isn't that right? You left us home last week. Well, it was just for an overnight. Yeah, you shouldn't leave us alone. Okay, maybe that's enough of you for now. Okay. So this is it. The experimental research terminal. Oh, but then again, we do have a specialty piece over here. This is a piece. But are you, is it okay? Well, let's see. This is a piece that's made for pounding. It's the Universal Speedmaster. It's It's very good for pounding things. I'm sort of doing it in slow motion because I'm afraid I'll hurt myself. Okay. Okay, I don't know if there's anything else people would want to see. Oh, this is the world headquarters of Artworks USA and the Experimental Research Terminal. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. This is the world headquarters. Yeah. Okay. I wonder how our time is doing. Let's see. Oh yeah. That's pretty good. What? Oh, my associate here was pointing out a couple of things. Ooh, but wait, here's somebody to see. Look at this guy. This guy turns around on here, but he turns around so slowly. Margarita, could you come and hold this, please? Margarita Bauman is here. She's an associate. She's a famed photographer. But let's wind this baby up a little. This is something I like very much. Oh, he's not in it. Yes, I did make it. That's perfect.
This is the Henry M. Hampton Award of Excellence.
Oh yeah, I guess next to it, the swim project got the Hampton Award for Excellence in Digital Media, but that's just there. Ooh, this is something that is, oh, well, yeah, that's another swimming piece, but it's with a boat. And it's an action piece. But this is something else that's very important to me. When I was doing the swim project, when I got, in a minute, I'm having a little trouble holding this thing. When I got to, oh yeah, it's easier when you do it, and then I can adjust it a little. Okay, this is where the Mississippi River and the Ohio River come together. This is the Mississippi, and this is the Ohio. And the Mississippi triples its flow there. It was very scary for me coming here. But the hardest part was Greenleaf and Dogtooth Bend. This is Greenleaf Bend here. And this is Dogtooth Bend here. As I was coming around here, I almost got drowned. I got pulled. The current grabbed me in such a way that I was drawn almost in between and underneath two giant towboats. And even my crew was in danger that was in the support boat. And well, it was written about in the Milwaukee Journal. We had a reporter with us, and he said that's the most ink they ever gave him when he did the article on that particular episode of my river swim. These are some older paintings up high there. They come from my spectral keyboard. And what the deal was, I know it's all kind of simplified, but I was interested in trying to compare the wavelengths of sound and light. And I developed this keyboard because what I wanted to do was make still lifes of sound. And in the end, I ended up doing these long, narrow pieces that are actually a still life of Michael Pretorius's Old German Dance. So it's a classical music composition done as a still life, which I still like that I sometimes did stuff like that, even though that's not where I'm working these days anymore. So,
Billy, Nicolas
yes, sir.
here. This
Yes,
is
sir.
amazing. This is amazing to walk through your studio. I never got to see all of this work. I mean, I know a lot of it, but I didn't know about some of the pieces that you showed us today. And we would like to use the last 10 minutes to ask you questions. So maybe I will filter the questions, meaning that I will relate them to you exactly or as exactly as they are coming to me. So maybe each person here can ask a question, and we have about 10 minutes.
Okay. Thanks, Nicholas. Look, I almost have a halo now.
Stay there. Yeah, St. Billy.
Yeah, stay in the halo, right? Yeah, that's a good one. I like this. My hair looks funny like that too.
Is it? Nice water.
Oh, Margarita wants me to tell you that there's water in this glass, not vodka.
Okay.
Although I like vodka, so.
So one question we got is, where does your interest in the political prisoner came? Is it personal? Can you tell us about it? I'm relating the questions the best and more faithful way I can.
Okay, well, I have been in jail more than once myself. And when I was a very young man, I did something wrong. I was still in high school and I got put in jail because I wouldn't tell them my name or anything. And I was in jail with a transvestite man. And he was complaining that he was in jail because he dressed like a woman. And he thought that was unfair because women dress like men all the time. And I thought about that and I decided he was a political prisoner. And I realized he was right. He shouldn't be in jail for wearing a dress. And if women want to wear traditional men's clothes, that's fine too. So that was the first thing. And I am a combat wounded veteran. And that cage that's called the tiger cage out there is based on the tiger cages that were on Con Son Island in Vietnam. And people were in them for so long without trials that their legs and arms atrophied. And I wanted to draw attention to that. And then the other thing is, I was the first person arrested in the student strike to end the Vietnam War at the University of Wisconsin in Milwaukee. So, and I am a city boy. And one of the reasons I left Milwaukee was because the police were harassing me all the time. They would see me walking down the street and they would pull the car up on the sidewalk and throw me across the hood and do stuff like that. And the FBI came to my collective house, which was called Booth House, because there were a bunch of radicals living there. Oh yeah, and I was working with Vietnam veterans against the war. As soon as I got back from Vietnam, I began working with Vietnam veterans against the war, and I'm still working with them now. And I just see more political prisoners all the time, all around the world. And I didn't want that issue to die with me. And it was hard moving that cage places. It was at the Contemporary Art Center in New Orleans. They had requested it, and I had to send it motor freight. and then they wanted me to pay for the return shipment. And I thought, no, you wanted this piece. And I was at the time a poorer artist than I am today. And I made them pay for the return shipping. And I don't know why, but it made them mad at me. So I guess that's the long answer. Did I cover it?
You did. Yes, you did. I also have one follow-up question. Do you have any suggestions for integrating sculptural work with your performance work for any artists that have never done that before?
Oh yeah, I love doing that. Well, I have to tell you one aside. Well, I have a degree in sculpture, and it's partially because my father was a fixer, and he taught me how to use all these tools when I was growing up. And I thought I was going to be a painter way back. And when I saw that the paint department just had big windows and easels, and the sculpture studio had all kinds of cool stuff to work with, I wanted to do that. And some of my very early sculptures, one of my professors told me I was too political and my work would not go very far because of how political I was. And I thought I had to give that thought because I was still young, somewhat young. And I decided that I didn't even want to do the work if I couldn't make it political. And then I did like those rocking boots and the Universal Speedmaster are some of my early pieces that I was using in performance. And I used to say that I thought the performance gave life to the sculptures. And before that, they were just objects. So I don't think of them as props. I think there's a separation between theater props and what I call performance sculptures. So
that's really great. I never thought about that because I am someone who, in many cases, create objects for performances, and then after the performances are over, they become more like relics of the performances. And I never thought of doing something like the boots. So that's really great. Any other questions? So let's take 2 more questions.
One other thing that I'd like to say about that, since you brought that up, Nicholas, but it'll be short. Sometimes I made the difference between it and a prop is sometimes I made the piece before I knew what I would do with it. Instead of having, like in theater, they make the set fit their theatrical piece. And I was making my performances fit these sculptures.
That's really great. 2 more questions.
Not in an attempt to box you in as an artist, but I was looking to see what you would describe as your artistic style, or describe an overall theme of what you do.
Oh, well, I do like the term performance because I found that it's been difficult to give that a definition. And I think that anytime something is defined, it becomes limited. So sometimes I say I'm an intermediate artist. And I say that because I think that means I can work with anything I feel like. Whatever I need to get my whatever thought I'm having that I would like to share, I use whatever I want. But I'm just going to do this as another quick one. I once was the founding editor publisher of High Performance magazine, and I and several other people were together in LA, and somebody asked her, with all of the crossover, how do you know when someone is a performance artist? And she said, oh, that's easy. I ask them. And I think that that sums it up. If I think you are what you think you are. I'm not sure if that answered anything.
Thank you.
One more question.
You know, one of the other things that I just thought of that I got to share now is it's very popular to, oh, I'm trying to think of the right word for it, to, you know, be, oh, I can't think of the right word. It's how you perceive yourself. And I see an example of that as the white woman that was the head of, I think it was the NAACP for a while, because she perceived herself as Black. And I guess that's an interesting concept, but I thought, well, I perceive myself as a rich person. I'm rich. And that's it. I am rich.
You are, Billy. You are. You have such a wealth of creativity, and it's just, yeah, it's just boundless. And maybe one more question.
I'm like trying to figure out how to word this, but you said that performance is like giving an object life. So do you feel like a work only is complete after it's been given life, or is there such thing to you as like a still life, like non-performative, like complete work?
Well, that's that's very interesting, because I'm not sure how I feel about that. I decided to get my halo back. Because I have some pieces that I always think that the performance will come. It's like perhaps the pieces that haven't been used in performance yet are still waiting for their moment, and then they become alive. And before that, maybe it's like they're in the womb, or some such thing like that. Yeah, that's what I think. The piece that I mentioned this just briefly, that grotto piece is important to me. And actually this space, one of the reasons I have this space is I wanted to have somewhere where I could do whatever I wanted. I would have no landlord telling me that I can't do that, or I couldn't get evicted. So it was very difficult for me to get a space like that. But now I have it. And there's roads that go around this place. I got it very inexpensively because it was in very bad shape. And I think the highway department would actually like to knock it down. And so I'm doing all this artwork here, and I'm hoping that there's at least some people that don't want to see the wrecking ball hit it. That would be like a fine statement after I'm dead if the highway department wants to take it down, and if a handful of people walk around with signs saying that they shouldn't do it. So, yeah, I don't.
Billy,
Yes.
sorry, are you done? Yeah, sorry, I interrupted you.
Well, I don't want to run over my time either, but yeah, the grotto thing is, it has a really good story. If there's time for me to throw a story out, you think it's okay?
Yes, that's okay. We have a couple more minutes. Yes, sure.
Okay. Well, the grotto was an outhouse when I bought this building. There was no real plumbing in here. So I had to put the plumbing in and everything. But I started hearing stories about the outhouse that was here. And some good old boys decided to play a trick on the store that was here at the time. And they put dynamite in his outhouse. And the dynamite didn't go off when they wanted it to. So they were going back to check on it, and it went off. and covered their truck with, stuff from the outhouse. And so they were easily caught, and the sheriff made them build the outhouse that's out there now. And I actually moved it, and I'm sort of restoring it, but I'm restoring it as a sculpture. And I'm going to have that story about how it was blown up once as a joke. Because it wasn't terrorism. They thought it was funny that they would blow up the outhouse. Just a different time, sort of.
Thank you so much, Billy. And maybe a closing comment. We come from a generation, I don't know about you, where people didn't go to school to study performance art. You come from a generation prior to my generation, or 2 generations prior to mine. And people like you, Martha Wilson, and all the big icons of performance art in the United States, including you, of course. I feel like didn't go to performance art school. I didn't go to performance art school. I had to figure out on my own. Do you have any words of wisdom for the younger generation?
Well, I would say it's just like it's like a follow your heart sort of thing. There wasn't, you're right, there wasn't stuff teaching performance art back then. And a lot of colleges that brought me back in the early days, they would say stuff like, well, we wanted to introduce our students to performance art, and you would be a good choice, they would say. And especially because some of my work isn't threatening, in part because I'm not necessarily naked. And there was a time when it was sort of a fad where people thought if they took their clothes off, it was performance. It seems, anyhow. So everything about my work that I can think of is me doing stuff because I wanted to, not because, and that's why I said that about the fads. I think the art world gets fads, and then there'll be whole bunches of people that just are trying to do the same thing. And that was one of the other reasons I moved to a farmhouse in Minnesota, so I could just be more in my own head. So I'm not going to say that that's necessarily good, because I think the collective spirit and doing things with people is very important. I think about that with indigenous terms. Like I said, Matakawasi, when we first came in, and that means we are all relatives, all my relations, and we are all basically the same. And we have to understand that, and that's the hate is caused when people are afraid of the other. As soon as you become the other, you're targeted, I think. And I don't like that.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Billy, for your visit. Thank you. This was wonderful. And much love to you and Margarita. And keep working on the shrine. I hope to see it in person someday.
Oh, yeah. I'd love you to come and visit. And I'm sure you would have a good time here.
And I want to do a pilgrimage to the Mayo Clinic. So we'll talk about that at some point.
Oh, good, good, good. If you do that, we have the places for you to stay, probably. So, yeah, Margarita is shaking her head, yes. And she actually lives in Rochester, where the Mayo Clinic is.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for bringing me in, Nicholas. It's always fun to work with you. And here's something I'll say for Texas. Yeehaw! See you guys.
See you. Much love.
Yeah.